inspirational. And of course, when I think of these women and these powerhouses, one of the women, my dear friend Danielle Sorensen Jones, I think of. Thank you so much, Danielle, for joining us today.
I am honored to be here with you and to sit next to you and to have this amazing, authentic conversation.
Oh, I can't wait. Thank you. So I got to know Danielle, and Danielle, like I said, is a powerhouse. Danielle, will you share your story with everyone, your story from, your childhood, adulthood, whatever you want to share with us?
No, thank you for having me sit with you, right? And really have an opportunity to talk about my background. And I'm going to give a high level because, it's interesting when you look back at all of the things that you've done in your 40 some odd years of living, how it creates this amazing puzzle. And so from a high level, I am a country girl that likes simple things from Jacksonville, Florida, right? I was born in Jacksonville, Florida. I'm the youngest of three. I come from parents. My mother was a school teacher for 30 years. I was one of the first African-American school teachers to join an all segregated school after Brown versus Board of Education. My father was in the military, had a lot of firsts there as well. And, when I think back, looking at my parents and my childhood and their siblings, right, it makes me understand who I am today. Having those stories, talking about my ancestors, the first things that they've done, the things that they overcame. I mean, my parents grew up during the times when there was, a faucet that was for whites and a faucet that was for blacks. My mother couldn't teach at certain schools because she was black, etc. So that's really powerful for me. My church was a huge foundation for me, Bethel Baptist Institutional Church. I did everything there, from brownies, Girl Scouts. I was part of the youth leadership program. The pastors there have really shaped who I am. Moving from an education standpoint, my goodness, I could not settle, right, for anything because my mother's an educator. So it wasn't even an option for me to go to college. So I went to University of Central Florida for undergrad. I went to FIU and got my MBA, and then Big Company Medical Device paid for my Wharton Marketing Leadership degree. And so I worked Big Company Medical Device, Philips Medical Systems, Medtronic for almost 2 decades.
Wow.
Various positions, sales, marketing, operations with them. And that really shaped who I am from an individual who focuses on excellence and who also understands how important it is to take stretch roles and to learn as much as you can, because that's why I've been able to dabble in all of these different things. Moved from that and became an entrepreneur. Wow. So now I am the CEO of a company called Power Hands, president of our Power to Give Foundation, and I save the best for last. I'm a mother.
Yay! That is the best.
Oh my gosh, I am a mother of 2 amazing children. Hartley Rose, who is 7 years old, Harper Jazz, who is 4 years old, and I just celebrated my 8-year anniversary with my amazing husband, Darnell. Thank you.
He is amazing. I have met him as well.
He is, yes.
So I did not know that you had worked for 2 decades in a totally different industry.
Is that because I look so young?
Well, yes, of course.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, but not only that, but when I met you, I see entrepreneur, right? That's what I know of you.
Right.
Leader, entrepreneur. Breaking those barriers, right?
Yeah.
And so what made you shift careers, essentially?
Yeah, great question. And I love when I get an opportunity to talk to what I call corpreneurs, right? Those that are certainly in corporate America, like myself. That's all I knew. Yeah. I thought you get an education, and at the time I was a nursing major. I either wanted to be a nurse or I've got to do something in corporate America. I didn't think of anything outside of that. So I built and tested and stress test, right, my brilliance in corporate America in medical device during a time when there were very few Black women, right?
Yeah.
So I was always the first woman that was part of a program, or I became, the first director that was in my organization, and I was pulled up from a white woman from sales by the name of Kathy Failing, who I owe like so much to this day, because she pulled me at boardroom tables that I wasn't supposed to be at, where people thought that I should get coffee. And she said, no, you're going to listen to her brilliance and her ideas.
Wow.
So from that, I raised my hand, or I was tapped on the shoulder for many stretch roles. Again, sales, marketing, operations. I became the first woman president for a diversity and inclusion program. And these are Fortune 500 companies. These are multi-billion-dollar companies that I worked for and worked with. I realized today that I was building my skills, stress testing those skills, and understanding how to build businesses and frameworks according to excellence, so that I could pivot and start my own the last 6 years.
It's that foundation was continually being laid. I love that because I firmly believe in that. And when you sit on a chair like this, and you go through exactly what has happened in your life, what you have done, absolutely. It's intentional. God is intentional.
He is so intentional, and I'm so thankful for that.
Yeah, exactly. So when I met you, and I love this because I met your mom first.
That's right.
And because I was working the TEDx talk.
That's right.
And your mother was looking for you frantically. And so I think, and I believe Darnell was there at the time as well. And if I put the faces together, I think that was him. And so, she was so, so proud of you. Now, the TEDx talk that you spoke about the black elephant in the room. Yeah. And I felt your talk was so impactful.
Thank you.
Can you share a little bit about that? Because it is a reality.
It is, yeah. The title alone, right, is a shocker, because a Black woman giving a talk, the black elephant in the room, there are some immediate assumptions that people make, right, about what is she about to say. Is she the angry Black woman? Right. All of those things about, that people profile. And that's what the talk is about, right? It's about truly leaving or unlearning what you've learned. Because we all come from different backgrounds, right? And we tend to gravitate towards what we know instead of getting to know the unknown.
Yes.
And so the black elephant in the room is, one, really addressing the thing that is in the room that prevents us from uniting, that prevents us from building bridges. And typically, that is ignoring the background, each other's brilliance, and what we can bring to the table to build innovation, right? To create better communities, to create better nonprofits, to share information about being mothers. And I wanted to take a moment as the black elephant, right? Because traditionally people hear the white elephant, and to switch it up and immediately shake people's thought process about it's okay for me to say I'm the black elephant in the room. Don't judge me because I have called my elephant black when it's traditionally white. Get to know who I am and see my brilliance. And what's been, Sadaf, so amazing. So the talk was really to support, in that context, women, right? And understanding their brilliance. Entrepreneurs that don't come from privilege or pedigree, understanding their brilliance, and small businesses. And one of the things that I focused on in that TED Talk is, wouldn't it just be amazing if we came together, looking at diversity, equity, and inclusion, right? And if we came together and had the courageous conversations with big businesses, and they were able to share their brilliance with small businesses, and we were able to help the economy rise. And I will tell you, as a result of George Floyd losing his life, that is what I am seeing that is coming together in this country. People are realizing, I have all these resources. How can I not help a woman? How can I not help a black woman who is brilliant? How can I not share that with a small business that needs to rise? So I kind of think my TED Talk it's manifesting itself into reality.
Timely.
Thank you.
And I think for me, it impacted me because, I felt like I could relate to it. I felt like I was that, brown elephant, perhaps, right? And I feel like that was in January, and then the times that escalated in the months preceding that, and especially when George Floyd was murdered.
Right.
It was a horrible, horrible atrocity that happened.
That's right.
And we felt it everywhere in this nation, even in the world.
We did.
And so in Frisco, when you had 4,000 plus people rise up and within hours plan to march. And it gives me chills thinking about it, because that's the passion that people have here, the humanity. And I met women, I mean, I met you obviously before that, but so many women of color, I mean, Black women, Asian women, South Asian women, even white women, who were like, why are we so complacent?
Right.
What can we do? And so going back to what you said, absolutely.
Yeah. And I forgot one really key point, right? The black elephant is not about race. It's not about gender. It is about us unpacking our fears and really talking about the issues that prevent us from getting to know each other.
Yeah.
And that relates to that moment when I joined the march in Frisco, to see a little white girl holding a sign that says Black Lives Matter, to see this sea of races, right? Of all of those people that joined together at the last minute around one mission and one cause that either they could relate to directly or indirectly, to use their voice to say, I'm going to come together. Man, I had never been so proud of Frisco. That was just incredible.
It was. I mean, I saw signs, Asians for Black Lives, Muslims for Black Lives.
Right.
I mean, just any demographic that was for Black lives.
That's right.
And so, yes, it was absolutely beautiful. And I feel like people are still hanging on to that. They have not forgotten.
No.
And I think it's important to not forget. Now, you talked about seeing from your TED Talk, seeing this past year kind of manifesting, the events manifesting. Could you give me an example of that?
Oh, wow. Yes, I'd love to. Well, number one, our relationship, right? And sitting here. I appreciate who you are in so many ways, to the point that I'm so curious to unpack all of that so that I can learn from you and your background, and I can share that with someone else that may be a Black woman that doesn't understand, or a white person that doesn't understand, or an Asian person. Like, for me, it is manifested in a way where I'm even more passionate about the cause of bringing people together from an inclusive standpoint. Number two, wow, from a big business. So Power Hands is a global athletic training and rehabilitation product tech company. And we've been selling on Amazon now for about 4 years.
Okay.
And it was cool, right? I'll use that as an adjective because, you know, we were selling through their vendor program. We were also selling through their seller program, but we really didn't know what we were doing on the seller program. Vendor program, they were sending us POs every single Monday. We're like, this is great, because they had opened up this division to support athletic training and sporting goods products. This is amazing. Well, they canceled that program and our POs stopped. It cut our revenue by hundreds of thousands of dollars, like overnight, right? And so then we had to build our platform on our Seller Central, where we sell and market our brand ourselves, right? And also learn about FBA, which is when we ship it to Amazon, and buy box and all this stuff. As a small business, that's a lot. That's a lot. Well, when George Floyd's life was sacrificed, right? And I connect the dots back to my TED Talk on how we truly build the economy, Amazon reached out to me in June and said, I've been doing some research on Power Hands, and I really, really like what we see. I'd like to spend some time talking to you about what resources you need.
Wow.
Oh, okay, sure.
So they knew you were a Black-owned business.
They did. What Amazon did was, they, just like many other businesses, right? So Sadaf, we either sum it up as it's a trend, or it's really going to be within your culture and your DNA. I feel for Amazon, it's within the culture of their DNA. They wanted to get to know who are the Black-owned businesses and the founders that are a part of our platform, and what can we do to support you?
Wow.
And so what they have done from that one phone call in June from Brandy Gnomes, who I love in the PR department, I have been inducted into their Small Business Academy.
Oh my
and
goodness.
I have a strategic partner for my advertising strategy, for my international strategy, because we've sold in over 87 countries.
Okay.
And with Amazon, we sell to Canada and Mexico. Well, I want to scale. I want to know how to sell better to Canada and Mexico and establish those best practices and then scale beyond that together.
Yeah.
They have provided resources, free PR. I mean, I was just featured for their Black History Month on the
Danielle.
cover.
Oh my goodness.
On the cover, they've done this huge blog about who Power Hands is and our Power to Give Foundation and the work that we're doing there. They've put together this World Congress panel, and I'm going to be the focus, and Power Hands is going to be the focus. Truly, truly have manifested itself, and I want to build that relationship. I mean, Amazon, they're a multi-trillion-dollar company.
Exactly.
For you to lean in like that, that's pretty significant.
It's not a trend.
No.
What did you do with the money you saved on electricity by switching to Discount Power?
I took all my friends out to dinner.
I paid off all my credit cards.
I took my whole family on a vacation.
I bought all this.
At Discount Power, saving you money on electricity is our business. What you do with it is yours. Great rates, great service. Simple. Visit discountpowertx.com today and save.
Hi, I'm Dr. Sonia Reddy. We're a full-service practice focused on dental implants, cosmetic veneers, sleep apnea, and braces. If you're embarrassed with your smile or have chipped, cracked teeth, call our office for your free consultation. I'll personally take care of you.
For all your real estate, commercial, or residential needs, contact Hassan Sumbro at kw.com or call 972-333-4801. Hassan Sumbro, Realtor with Keller Williams. with Cheese, a digital recreational platform for homemakers. Follow Glow and Grow on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, because we all could use a little reminder of how awesome we are.
Marine Mill Supply deals in casters and wheels since last 52 years. For more information, contact 9232431374, 9232421821, or you can visit our website www.mmscasters.com.
Solar company has an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, OneSolarSolution.com. Which solar company offers in-house financing with the best rate and easy approval? OneSolarSolution.com. And which company has the best looking brand ambassador? No one else. OneSolarSolution.com. Look, I know you want solar, and everybody does, but you might think it's expensive. If we can't match your electric bill with our in-house financing, we'll cut you a check or gift card for $25 just for the try. Go to OneSolarSolution.com today.
Welcome back. You are watching Fire Within Her. I am your host, Sadaf. Today we have Danielle Sorensen Jones, and we're continuing our conversation about the powerhouse that she is. And no irony that the name of her company is Power Hands, right? Not that they have anything to do with each other, but
no,
still. So Danielle, we were talking about Amazon. We were talking about just the amazing outreach that Amazon did as a company.
Yeah.
Now, during that, you mentioned the Power to Give Foundation.
Yes.
Can you talk about that?
Absolutely. So, and it's interesting you talk about the word power when we started the company, right? And that name, Power Hands, it really had that dual meaning of power from a performance standpoint, but also who are you off the field and on the court, right? So, what is your power to give? And we made a decision day one that we did not have to choose between creating a company with innovation that was just for profit, that we could do good in the community. So we started the Power to Give Foundation as an initiative because we were dumping money into the company. We couldn't afford to make it a 501c3 at that time. We did shortly after, a year later, but we started it because we wanted to make sure that youth in underserved communities, right? Typically, it doesn't matter. It could be Fort Worth where you see Hispanics. It could be brown and black kids, but we wanted them to benefit from the lifelong skills that you can get from playing sports, programming that is associated with sports, coupled with academics. We believe that formula is how you build character, right? Character will last and take you much further than your athletic career. And so that's exactly what the Power to Give Foundation, for the last 6 years, I mean, we've worked with some amazing people, some incredible programming. We actually just did with North Texas Food Bank.
I saw that.
Yep, we partnered with them because we wanted to make sure, the food insecurity directly impacts the home, impacts the youth athlete, right? If you don't have the nutrients to fuel your fire to play, right? You're not going to be confident. You're not going to be able to perform as an athlete. So we went in with a specific initiative with the Power to Give to bring volunteers, and some were for the athletic community, some were CEOs, some were just everyday people who wanted to volunteer. It doesn't matter, all hands in. I think we ended up creating and developing 6,000 meals, plus meals on that day, on that Saturday, and we gave a donation of $10,000, and that was collective of people coming together to give. So yeah, we've done some really special things with the foundation, and that's the cornerstone of who we are.
And I really feel that when you give back, God blesses you with so much more because you are fulfilling your duty as a human being.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm firm on that belief. And so I feel like I love companies and I love people that give back in that capacity because it's important.
It is
We
important.
have a sole purpose in our life and
It is.
and to fulfill that. So
Yeah.
that's exciting.
Thank
and actually,
you.
I want you to know that I was actually going to sign up for a time slot because our friend Danette had
Yes.
posted about that.
Yes.
But you know, family, it's just something, and I wasn't able to.
There'll
so
be plenty of
yes,
times for
please.
you to serve with me. Trust me.
I love serving. So absolutely, empowerment.
Yeah.
We talk about how typically we talk about women empowerment,
Mm-hmm.
and hopefully we'll get to a point where we won't need to empower women because women will be empowered, right? Who has been your role model or role models growing up? Who do you feel like has inspired you, motivated you, and empowered you?
Yeah, that's very easy. I will first say, you know, of course, my mother. I mean, and you saw that, you met her.
I did.
The interaction, and she's frantically
The hug.
looking for
I
me.
can't forget the hug. She's like, I'm a hugger. I'm like, okay.
She's-
And you said the same thing to me. You said, I'm a hugger.
I am. It's that immediate connection.
I know.
And she did so much for me from a standpoint of diversity, equity, inclusion. So teaching at an all-white school, what does that mean? My friends were white or there was a naval base, so they came from the naval base, and I just never knew anything different other than it was Amy Rodden, who I went to stay with her on her ranch, and they had horses, and that was my, you know, getaway from my family, or she came to stay with us, or Angie and Jennifer that were twins that were from Japan. I just never knew anything different.
Beautiful.
My mother loved them and they loved her. So she, from the beginning, right, that foundation of just loving people, who they are, and meeting people where they are was brilliant for me to experience. And then my spiritual foundation, if it wasn't for my mother, like saying, I don't care what we're doing, like on Saturday, you better have your clothes out because we're going to church, and infusing that thought process and foundation into my soul, I wouldn't be the person that I am today. And those people and those women that were there, the village that she had around her was huge, right? And then obviously I go back to Miss Kathy Failing. And that is the woman, white woman, who pulled me up at a rare age of raw green age of 21, 22 and said, I see something in you. I see you. I want you to come and run our director of private label. Director? I'm 23, you sure?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Private label, what?
Yeah.
CT? Oh my gosh. It was incredible. So, one, she didn't have a crab in a barrel mentality. Even though she was a black elephant, she was trying to address and find her own way in a very male dominated field at that particular time. But she pulled me up to help me learn, bring me to the table, and to give me access, right, to the resources that I need. And then one other woman I will say too, who is passed, and I quoted her in my TEDx, Sharon Piper Diggs.
Okay.
So Sharon and I worked together at Medtronic, and she worked for another division within Medtronic, and she was over diversity and inclusion. And I didn't raise my hand. People kind of voted for me, but I raised my hand when I said, okay, I'll do this. But she was very instrumental in me stepping up to be the first woman president for our diversity and inclusion sales development program within all of Medtronic. And she taught me something that was so awesome, right? She said, is diversity a problem to be had or a solution to solve, right? And so she really focused on the fact that diversity and inclusion is the solution. And it's our responsibility to solve it, because when we do solve it, that's when we truly tap into our resources and create something great within each other from a cultural standpoint, and we serve our customers better. So I would say those three women.
That's beautiful.
And I could go on and on.
And you know, and I feel like diversity, equity, inclusion is a whole other topic, so
is.
probably have to bring you on again. But diversity, I mean, there have been studies that have proven companies are far more successful.
Absolutely.
When they embrace diversity.
Over 30%. Yeah, more successful.
Exactly. So I'm sure more companies will, you know, get on board, but until then, keep entering those spaces, right?
Absolutely.
Danielle, what advice would you give to, you know, women, men, young kids that maybe, you know, kids, it's so important, right? You have 2 kids that you are empowering with your actions, your words. I have 3 daughters that continually I'm so mindful of in everything that I do, right? What advice would you give to our viewers?
So, you know, and I said this today, right? Either we rise or we will be replaced. So it's very important for us to rise to the occasion and think big out of the gates. I think we limit ourselves, right? Because of our fear. We limit ourselves because of the unknown, and we limit ourselves based on our background. If we're not exposed to it, then we can't do it. We can't touch it. My advice is to stretch beyond your borders, right? Beyond your borders of thought. If you're an entrepreneur, beyond your borders of the U.S. We've been able to sell into 87 countries. Like, it was a what? When we started looking at the analytics, right? And I realized that then we can put distribution models in those places, right? So stretch beyond your borders of what you think you can do. That's when you truly push yourself into greatness. And that's when you're truly giving your gift, because you're serving in such a big capacity. And I think that's what God wants us to do.
That's beautiful. Beautiful advice, guys. You heard it here first. Danielle, thank you so much for joining me today. I feel like we have so much to talk about.
Thank you.
Maybe we'll have to do some sort of a panel discussion, right?
I would love that. How about coming up?
Exactly. You heard it here first. So thank you so much. This was Fire Within Her with our guest, Danielle Sorensen Jones. We'll see you next time.